I just want to tell you that I believe the work that we did together with Marcos Kounalakis on Secrets of the Better Halves, I think that was such amazing, powerful groundwork of diacardia with people that we interviewed. And then we rolled that same feeling and thought into our coaching at the White House. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity. Be dedicated to practicing, be dedicated to educating ourselves, whatever it is we want to be able to do. And then for ourselves, think about the times, Dan, and maybe there's a time you can think of very specifically where it just felt like it was taking a long time to get there, wherever there was, but now you're here. And it doesn't, so remembering back a lot of times helps. So I don't know if there's any instance where you struggled and struggled and struggled, and now it's not such a struggle.
I'm so excited for a new episode of Diacardia where we're going to talk and listen about the most important skill in diacardia, which is listening through the heart. It's critical to be able to speak through the heart, but when we have partners, it's really listening through the heart that matters. And I've got the best guest in the world, the best guest in the world. Debbie Phillips is joining me. You need to know a couple important things about her. First, that she was in the first crop of trained coaches. The fellow's name was Leonard, and he started coaching. And she was in that very first crop, learning with the very first coaches. Over 30 years, she's been coaching. And then 23 years ago, she started an extraordinary program, a movement in a way, and a program called Women on Fire, through which she has coached and trained thousands, literally thousands of amazing women to become more effective and more satisfied in their work and in their life. And so, Debbie, welcome to Diacardia.
Oh, Dan, thank you so much. It's just such a pleasure to be here. And when I even just hear the word diacardia, I just go, oh, so thank you very much.
That's perfect. The hand over the heart is perfect. That's the cardia part. So that's just a beautiful expression for people who are listening and can't see us. I want to say a little bit more, Debbie, about our relationship and why you are here today. Is that we reconnected about 4 or 5 years ago, and you had lost a husband, which, again, that feeling of hand to chest, a younger husband out of the blue. And so we started to catch up. And simultaneously with that, the Lieutenant Governor of California, Eleni Kounalakis, her husband had approached me as we had become friends and said he was going to do a podcast called Secrets of the Better Halves, that we would have people talk about high profile, high power relationships like us men in subjugated, as the world would see it, relationships to our spouses. And I said, we need to have a great woman. We need to have somebody who's like full of heart. And I talked to you and you agreed to do that. And so we did a series in 2023 with some really interesting people, including Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, who joined us for an episode and shared a little bit about our own lives, where we had pretty darn interesting relationships and poured a lot into them. So that was really cool. And then you and I had the remarkable experience of sitting across from each other, which we are virtually now, in the Eisenhower Old Executive Office building within the White House complex. And we coached pairs in the White House, you and I, tried to create more effective partnerships in an organization where in all of government, you often have a director and a deputy in cabinet departments and in all throughout the organization. And so we were coaching those pairs that I think of as being in a vertical relationship, one on top and the other reporting to them, but fundamentally depending on great relationship. And so we sat across from each other, right?
We sure did in our
every
special
day. And we
ed.
had our incredible frustrations with working in a political bureaucracy that doesn't move very fast. And we had some just tremendously
Mm,
powerful moments to be able to support these great public servants. And one of them, Debbie, I want to share with our audience, and then I will explain through that why I invited you, is that we had a shared office and we had a shared mission to pairs. And we had a great third partner who'd been
mm,
coaching people through the State Department all around the world for about 10 years after a long career in um, uh,
at the state.
AARP,
Oh yeah, yeah.
among other places
She was
where
there.
she had
Yeah.
been a coach. And she was phenomenal. And we decided on the day that we were going to teach coaching to the people we were coaching to help them become more effective coaches. We decided that the best person to coach would be you because you're so amazing
Mm,
at it. And it
mm,
made sense. I don't remember why we said to have Terry be the coachee. And for
mm.
about 10 minutes, my arrogant self watched this coaching real time thing happening and thinking, why is Debbie doing that? Why is Debbie doing that? Debbie should be doing this. The little professor in my head was just buzzing away. But everyone in the room was rapt. And that conversation I will never forget about
Hmm.
how you helped Terry think through some things that were
Hmm.
so important to her and so personal, and to do it in front of a room of people. That is magic, Debbie. You know it, and
Oh,
I
thank
know it. When somebody listens
you.
in a certain kind of way, the person they're listening to can actually listen to themselves in a way
Yeah.
that they couldn't. And wisdom shows up from somewhere. Sometimes there's conflict that shows up within the person. I want this and I also want that, and I don't realize that I got to make a choice or whatever it happens to be.
Right.
But it was magic. And so I wanted people to
Mm.
see you in action. And the beautiful thing is, I need help. So I am interviewing people typically. I'm asking you to interview me
Yeah.
because I need help about diacardia.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine. A lot of it is really working.
Oh.
The magic of diacardia, of
Yeah.
listening, not just through your head, which you're so great at, but listening through
Yeah.
your heart in a way
Yeah.
that I'm answering not just through my cognitive head, but I'm actually answering through my heart. May long for things and may fear other things and all of that.
Right.
So,
Right.
can you help me, Debbie?
Well, Dan, thank you for all of that. I just want to tell you that I believe the work that we did together with Marcos Kounalakis on Secrets of the Better Halves, I think that was such amazing, powerful groundwork of diacardia
Mm,
with people that we interviewed. And then we rolled that same feeling and thought into our coaching at the White House. So
oh,
I just want to thank you for the opportunity that using diacardia and using intense listening and understanding of people and where they are, that was an important ingredient.
right.
So when you talk to me about, okay, I need help with diacardia, and we'll get to that, whatever help it is, I want to say one thing to you, which is anytime you come up with an original idea or something that people aren't familiar with, and we try to roll it out in any sort of way or share
Mm,
it with the world, and this goes for any kind of artist or creator, we're often misunderstood, we're often alone. And
mm,
that's why reading history books about artists or creators are always so helpful because we feel we're alone.
mm,
When I first became a coach, no one ever heard of coaching.
right.
And in fact, I had such a difficult time explaining it to people that when I would tell them what I was doing in helping other people become better at their jobs, and it was people would look at me with a blank stare,
Yeah.
and I would say, well, like how the sports teams have a coach. And then multiple times people would look at me still very confused, and they would say, I just never knew you were interested in sports. And I used to just get so I
So
just was so
frustrated.
discouraged because I was like, I can't explain this.
Mhm.
But thank you for your kind words, to be able to listen and listen to that diacardia, which is what I very much think of great coach, listening through diacardia, um, is very rewarding. So
Well,
let's talk.
you were
Oh,
doing diacardia before I came up with the word
oh,
for it.
well, thank you. And that brings us back to, I love to know more the history of you coming to diacardia. I noticed at the White House, I think a great forerunner, this is just my experience with you, a forerunner to that is how you had people stop, take a breath, for their gratitude. That was very revolutionary at the White House, and it's still very revolutionary to do it with people you work with and people you care about. People are just not to listening through the word, and very much. Yeah, yeah. Dan, what I'd love to know is the process with which you came up with the idea of diacardia.
Yeah. Huh.
Take us back.
Well, diacardia, I'm a bit of a nerd. And so it really was playing with AI to think about something that was like dialogue. And dialogue, I have enormous respect for as a disciplined way of going back and forth. So that is dia through, and logos, dialogue is through the mind. It's through logic or logistics, those kinds of things. And so I wanted something else which was through the heart. And so the Greek has logos as head, and cardia, as we have cardiologists, for instance, is having to do with heart. So it seemed like the right word. And the passion was that, like, uh, so often we debate and we discuss and we argue about things, and that oftentimes comes out of rigid parts in our mind that we have to be right, we have to prove ourselves right, we have to be smarter than, we can't look stupid, maybe is even much more powerful. Like, nobody wants to look stupid. um, it's part of what happens in our political dialogue these days is people feel like you're making me look stupid, and I'm not stupid. So
Right.
that conversation is taking place through another place. So it was like, how do we make a big shift and get people to think big shift? I'm not going to think and talk out of my head, right? And that immediately, Debbie, I want to breathe right now, like, and just go, oh, because there's something in my body. Of course, my brain is in my body, but there's something in my trunk, in my lungs, in my larynx, in my throat. There's something there, like when your throat shakes because you're so emotional. It was about
Yeah.
that. And like,
Yeah.
how can I help me? Because I've messed up a lot of relationships. And how can I help other people? I think we have to get out of our heads.
Yeah. And in order to do that, would you share some of the processes that you were dedicated to getting out of your head?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done that when you've talked with people and told them what you did for practices to get out of your head. You've worked
Well,
it.
yeah, I have. I mean, the first thing is breath work, which I do every day, every morning for an hour. And that slowing down the breath or becoming aware of the breath slows the mind. That's part one. That process with any good breath work session online slowed me down. And I also learned in studying a little bit about the breath that the out breath is part of what's called the autonomic nervous system, which operates on its own. You never have to do anything to breathe. It will do it for you. And the
Mm-hmm.
out breath in particular is the rest and relax function. So you
Mm-hmm.
could think about a sigh. You just go, oh, oh. And there's a million sounds I could make with that, but it's mostly, the important thing is just the breath. So the practice of breath work slows me down and helps me know when I'm getting tight. And I might feel it in my body. I might feel it across my neck and shoulders. I might feel it in my head. Some people feel it in their jaw. Some people might notice their feet or their fists are clenched. Some people might notice their feet are moving, like they want to get out of this. It's making them uncomfortable. They don't want to listen to their husband anymore, or their kid, or their parent, especially. That allows you to just take a breath. And the first part is take it, right? Take the oxygen from the trees and the ocean and the plants and everything as an inhale, and then let it go. And so that's the first process for me, Debbie, is get to the body, get to the breath, get to the preloaded equipment in your car that you've been driving for, in our case, around 70 years. It's been working on its own, like your car does. You push the button these days and the damn thing starts. That's what you have, is your breath. And
Right. And what did that do for you when you consistently, and I know you just and appreciate much, that done for that consistent practice of breathing? By the way, what time up to do this?
So your first question was, what has it done for me? Is that what you said? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what it's done for me is just allow me to slow down. So for instance, when I had a difficult relationship with a family member and we could trigger each other. And so it was as if I was getting tighter and tighter and tighter and had to fight for my ground. Like, oh my gosh, if I knew then what I know now, I would just practice breathing. And in a coaching conversation with me, or a conversation with my wife where we still have tension, because we do, or even when you and I sat across from each other in the White House, and on the rare occasions when you said things that I wanted to interrupt you or tell you, no, there's a better way, or you're not thinking right, or we should do something else, that's like breath work, like the reminder, no, come back to listening. And that's, you can't listen. Some people can listen and talk at the same time. It drives me
No, they
crazy.
can't.
But listening to it, right? Say more about that. No, you can't.
You can't.
You can't talk and listen at the same time.
No, you can't. Not really. But I love that you really just can get back to your by doing breath. And in this day, just so many people, and I know this is true for you too, Dan, so many people are coming to you because they're so anxious. I think anxiety is something really plaguing society now. And it's really that something that seems simple, but a practice of breath, and a consistent one as you've been doing, is that first step in really getting to your diacardia, really being able to calm yourself and breathe and be able to operate in a much less stressful way in the world.
Debbie, you said in a simple way, right? And it may seem overly simple, but like, listen to this. I did a little podcast, a little session, and I asked people, people could do this at home. Take the number of years you have. I have 68. Multiply that by 365. Now I've got not just my age in years, but my age in days. 365 times the number of years I've lived. Okay, times that by 24. And now I'll know how many hours I've lived. Now, times that by 60, and I'll get to minutes. How many minutes in a day? Actually, I don't think I needed the hours. Yes, I do need the hours and the minutes. Okay, I'm almost done, right? Now I know how many minutes I've been alive. Now multiply that times 16. Are you with me? Like, this number is exploding. Times 16, because that's how many times you breathe in a minute. So now, instead of my age as 68 years old, I have my age in breaths. And my age in breaths is 575 million breaths.
Wow. I love
575 million breaths.
that.
575 million in and then 575 million out. And if you want to get really funky, you could try to see the seam between in breath and out breath, which you could pause. You could go
Wow.
in, hold, 2, 3. Okay, you could count that too, but most of the time it's just steady, right? We're
Yeah.
oscillating. Okay, so 575 million times I've breathed.
Amazing.
And I said to Jennifer, like, she was listening to a recording I did, and I said, I had asked in the recording, how many breaths have you been fully aware of? Like, think about it. I've had 575 million, Debbie. And like before I started doing breath work, like when I got hit in the solar plexus playing football and I couldn't breathe for a second, I got really aware of breath, right? So
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
when I was a 4-year-old, I would hold my breath when I was really mad. I would turn blue in the face. But like,
mhm,
how many breaths are we aware of? So your point, this is all
mhm.
jumping off your point that it's such a simple thing, but being aware of your breath in the moment, which is the only time you can be in and the only place you can be, not in the past, not in the future, freaking out. Oh God, if I give in to my kid, I'm going to lose all control of everything. Or, you know,
Yeah.
this is the same thing happening that always happens with my wife. And I'm building this big picture of the past.
Mhm.
No, when I breathe, I'm just here now.
Yeah.
I'm just here with Jennifer now. So
Right.
it is, yeah, a simple thing, but 6 years of daily practice, I'm still not very good at it.
Well, my guess is you're better than you think you are, and on top of that, just the fact that you're having this conversation and that you share it with other people so that they can become aware. And this is the whole, it is really important to learn to do meditation, and it is important to be able to learn to breathe. And I think of that as the first building block. I don't know if you do, but I think of that as the first building block in diacardia. So go back to talking to me about what's the help you need with diacardia, because I think you've just done a beautiful job of explaining that the first stepping stone is to really be able to be aware of your breath, whether that's
Mm,
through a breathing practice or a meditation practice, and being able to slow yourself down.
mm, mm.
So,
Yeah.
what's the issue? What is it? What are you feeling? What's the help you feel you need
Mm.
with diacardia?
Okay. First, I love the question and I love the way you ask the question. And there's heart in the question. And then there's a temptation now to speed to an answer to my head, right?
Right, take your
and
time.
and and, and to the logic, like what's the logical problem with diacardia. But if I keep breathing with a little bit of intention about that, and if I see your nodding face and a positive expectation that's written across your face, how you learn to do that, right? I could ask you, how did you learn to non-verbally communicate in a way that draws somebody out? um I suppose, what's the problem? The problem is trusting that things can unfold, right? Like we're in this scale time. Everybody's talking about scale, and I've always wanted to scale. I've wanted to be great. But diacardia is not about that. It's really about one by one. It's leading by two, which is and was my business for 20 years, leading by two. So a lot of the problem is just sinking into it, Debbie, is like, how do I trust that things will unfold? Part of it is the mechanics, like, um, how do I talk, right? Um, when diacardia, I say the first thing is listening, right? Listening to your own body so that you can listen to somebody else and fully listen to them. You have a funny story about how much you listen in a good coaching session. And I want to come back to that because I've never forgotten that
You
story.
have a good memory.
I have a good memory for a wise teaching, and that was a
Oh,
wise
that's
teacher.
great.
So, like, I'm trying to figure out modalities, I guess, in a way,
Yeah,
because I really want to offer this where listeners can listen to themselves. And I
yeah,
wish that I could listen to anybody who's on this program. I wish I could listen to you more than I am or will. I wish I could listen better to other guests. So that's a part of my problem is like, how do I accept that it takes time and trust people to listen how they'll listen, trust people who could benefit from hearing this will hear it, and
right.
experiment with how do you listen at scale, you know?
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of questions here, which
Yeah.
are all great. They're all valid for what your deep desire is. You want to help people, and you want to help yourself, and you want to be the best you can be, and you want to spread that to as many people. And it's really hard for us to see ourselves. There's this old little thing, you can't pull yourself up by your own hair.
Yeah,
And
definitely not in my case. Nothing to grab onto, even if I could.
pull yourself up by your own head. I'll change it.
Right.
Anyway, it's so hard, and this goes for everybody who's listening. We have these desires in this world, and the best we can do is just be as good as we can do ourselves. Be dedicated to practicing, be dedicated to educating ourselves, whatever it is we want to be able to do. And then for ourselves, think about the times, Dan, and maybe there's a time you can think of very specifically where it just felt like it was taking a long time to get there, wherever there was, but now you're here. And it doesn't, so remembering back a lot of times helps. So I don't know if there's any instance where you struggled and struggled and struggled, and now it's not such a struggle.
Hmm. That's a good
Anything that
one.
comes to your mind.
My first thought was driving across the Great Salt Lake Desert and feeling like, God, this is so monotonous. Are we ever going to get across?
Yeah,
In a deeper way, yeah. I mean,
that's good.
I've come a long way with one of my family members, two of my family members, to be able to connect, to be able to not have to be right, not somehow need to push. I think that's really a lot of it, Debbie, is when I think about those two family members, it was a lot of I wanted to push. I felt like I needed to push, like grab
Yeah.
an in breath and then push. Um,
Right. Right.
like in a gym or something, or getting a
Mhm.
car out of the snow in Michigan or Ohio where we grew up, like 1, 2, 3, push.
Touch. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I suppose I've
Yeah.
grown in that way. I mean, I
Yeah.
know I've grown in that way.
Practice.
I've gotten
Mhm.
somewhere without knowing. I mean, running marathons, it takes a lot of steps to get through a marathon. And there's a lot of them where you
Yeah.
feel like I'm never going to get there.
That's right.
So our brain does deceive us, doesn't it? It really
Yeah. And
deceives
so
us
it does.
that we
It
can't
starts it
grow.
all over, like a push. And in times of that, also, I know you're a really great journaler, and write can enormously any of these practices, the meditation thing, just to help yourself stay on track with here before exceeded, especially our age, exceeded, and this is going to be just that. Any coming up with something or a new concept, um, this is what the human is in all of this.
Yeah. Debbie, the sound was breaking up a little bit, so I just want to
Okay.
reiterate what you were saying, just that
Okay.
dedicating yourself to it and remembering you've gotten through things, like, and practicing whatever it
Right.
is you practice to get
Right.
better. When you said that about practicing and remembering you've gotten through it, it reminds me. It reminds me. My mind
Mhm.
is reminded, as I hope our listeners have, that it takes a little effort to savor. Like if when you say to me, think about a time when you got through something that you didn't think you could get through. I think it's really important for listeners. This is a place where savoring and breath work can help. Like if you were listening to this and you were thinking about a time for you when you felt like, I'm never going to get this fixed. I'm never going to relate to my husband the way I want. I'm never going to get this kid out of diapers. Like, yeah, savor, like breathe a couple times. And when did you get through it? And what was that like? And wow, that was a mystery. Like, savor the mystery which sits in our hearts. Like, our brains want to figure out the mystery. How did I do that? How
Right.
did I figure that out?
And did I really?
And did I really? Yeah.
As ourselves when we get through, so we've all gotten through so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Move on to the next thing, starts
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah. Well, Debbie, I wonder what you're observing now in
That's
yourself, in the
interesting.
conversation.
I have peace from the time came on together today, watching you truly work your practices with passion. You are a very passionate person. And so, what I'm observing is you seem, you'll have to tell me, but you seem uh, more regulated with the piece that I think the two of us present.
Mm.
So I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that you get it. You get it that you've been through hard things and you don't minimize that once you stopped and thought about you've been through other things, whatever challenges Diacardia and your deep desire to spread this far and wide presents. Oh, I've done that before. I've gotten through some really, really tough stuff. Maybe this isn't even as hard as that. Will help propel you forward. And that was all within you. You know, it
Mm.
was really me just listening. I was just listening to you. And because
Mm-hmm.
I have listened to you before and I love it and I know you and I know what you're capable of, this is easy peasy for me.
Debbie, it's so interesting that it's just listening. You're saying like I wasn't doing anything; I was just listening, and that is just so right. And so often, I think males are a little more susceptible to this. We have to do something. We have to fix something.
Yeah.
But Jennifer
Yeah.
can be
Yeah.
that way too. She's a real
Yeah.
executive, so she wants to fix it. What's the
Right.
problem? What's the cause? What's the
Right.
fix? And
Right.
this is a very different kind of fix that you
Right.
master at just listening, is the way you expressed it. I want to say something like, I love the idea of co-regulation and that you had a sense
Hmm.
of peace and wondered, do I? Yes, I
Hmm.
have a sense of peace. And here's one of the other like passive gifts that happens when you listen. In this case, you listening to me, is that I do not feel alone.
Mm.
And it's hard to overstate how powerful that is within us, the feeling and fear that we are alone. And so
Yeah.
when you feel like, okay, but I have to solve my kid's problem, or I have to help my mother deal with her loss of memory. No, like if you're just there and you're really listening to it, and you are in some way feeling their pain, it sounds trite,
Yeah.
but you are feeling their pain, that they're losing their memory. If we take that example of the aging mother,
Yeah.
being there makes it less lonely. And
Right.
all the CEOs I've coached and you've coached, it is lonely. And
That's
sometimes
exactly
that's all we
right.
do. And this is a good place for us
Right.
to finish, I think, with your story about the coaching you were getting, about how much listening you should do, and how you become such an extraordinary coach. But I felt like I was in that moment with you, and I want you to share that with our listeners.
Oh, that's so well. Thank you so much for saying that. When I was a younger coach and I was trying to figure out how can I help people move from A to B to Z, whatever it was that there was their dream. How am I going to do this? And I knew I had some skills, and I knew listening was one of them. And I was thinking, what's the right mix for listening and talking? And Thomas Leonard is the one who said you should be listening 90% of the time and talking 10. And I remember I literally, in my first coaching sessions, I like kept track. So I probably didn't listen so great to the person I was talking to, but I was keeping track. And the first one that I did where I was like, I was 90%, 90% listening. Afterward, I said to the man I was coaching, I said, how was that? Or what did you take away? And he goes, this was the best session we ever had. And I felt like I did nothing. And so I think that's just general for all of us. It's so people just want to jump in all the time, to be able, and yes, we want to keep a conversation going, but it's just erring on that side of real silence and real listening to this person and letting them say what they have to say. And it's just profound, I find. So I know I love it. I love it when you do it to me, Dan.
I love that.
And let me be excited.
I don't do it to you. I be it with you. I be in that space, right? I'm not doing anything. Like, that's the feeling. And I love this incredible contrast that, like, part of you, I know, like, part of me would be like, I didn't even talk. Like, that person paid me $300 an hour, $500, $800 an hour. I didn't even say anything. Right? You feel like, what value am I? But I contrast that mental feeling, like, am I worthy? Am I worthy? With the fact that you made him worthy for 90% of an hour. He talked for 54 out of 60 minutes, right? He was totally worthy.
Exactly right.
And this is what I love about his voice. As you know, I have a grandson who's about to turn 5, and I could hear his voice in that executive. This was the best session ever, right? Like, he was speaking from his heart to you. Like, that was the best one ever. Like, he was at Cedar Point, and he was on a great ride and ready to run and do the same ride again, right? So he showed up for his next coaching session with you.
Yeah, you better.
Yeah, I mean, right. See, that's like the secret of Diacardia. That is the secret better halves, the core. Can you just be there and honor the other person? Yeah. You don't have to be right. They don't have to be right. It doesn't have to be an argument. You're just respecting how they're moving through the world, and you're a little bump they hit sometime. That's their problem. You're not a bad person because you're the wall they ran into. All right, I miss our long talks, Debbie.
Oh, me too.
Before they figured out how much we could do at the White House, we spent a couple hours talking to each other. This is Diacardia.
We did a lot of talking with each other at the White House. That was super fun.
My guest has been Debbie Phillips, and Debbie is the founder of Women on Fire. You can find her online and the great work that she does. Leading, training, coaching women. And Debbie, I cannot thank you enough for doing your magic here.
What a pleasure, and good luck. And this is so important. It's such important work, Dan. Just keep going.
Thanks, you. Debbie. Diacardia, don't forget, as we are compelled to say, or else we'll be sentenced to jail, press the like button, press the subscribe, share it with a friend. But whatever you do, just keep listening with your heart open. Subscribe, like, and share if you appreciate Diacardia, the podcast to strengthen your partnership by speaking and listening through the heart. I'm Dan Mulhern, and I thank you for listening.